I remember when the war was going on. I was a teenager, and one of the things that I might add in there was my brother had started college because he was 4 years older than I was. And he came home with a friend. And I just had a mad crush on him. He was a college freshman with my brother, and of course I thought he was the most handsome thing, and he was so nice to me, you know. I was probably 14 years old, and I just really had a crush on him. Well, he got drafted, and he was killed in the war, and it just broke my heart. Not that it ever, that's, you know, besides, I had a lot of cousins that went to war, had a lot of family that went, but John Young was the only one that I know that didn't come back. But there were so many other things. We didn't have a lot like kids do nowadays anyway, but so it wasn't too terrible hard on us, but I know things were rationed, and I remember my mother having a ration book that we'd go to the store, and you had stamps like there was, I know for sugar was one, and I'm not sure if gas wasn't, maybe one, and then tires were rationed, and you could only get 2 tires with your ration stamps, and sometimes people would share if somebody needed them worse than somebody else, you know, you could give somebody. And saving stamps, and I'm not quite, I can remember this little paper book that when we'd go to town, Daddy would buy me a stamp and I'd put it in there, and when the book was full, it would come to $18.75, and when it matured in so many years, I can't recall, I think it was worth $25, which was a lot of money. That was a big deal, $25 in my name, you know, at that time, because we didn't have a lot. And then since Pearl Harbor was bombed, everyone was Remember Pearl Harbor, and you could buy pictures, but like my daddy gave me, it probably cost a quarter or 50 cents because we didn't have a lot of money, and things weren't that expensive, but it was a little necklace. I think I had a necklace and a pin both, but it had a heart, and it had Remember, and then the pearl had a little artificial pearl, of course, that Remember Pearl Harbor. And this was a souvenir from the time when Pearl Harbor had been bombed, and I thought that was pretty special. I can't remember going for a driver's license. You know, I'm sure I would have had to, but when I was old enough, why I wanted to drive, let Daddy let me drive the car. This was when Norma was driving. Her dad let her take the car, and she got to drive to youth group, and Lynette was driving, and I wanted to drive, but the car was pretty nice. It wasn't new, but it wasn't a junker. But Daddy said, well, I don't know, with the tires being rationed, whether, he said, we better kind of conserve the tires. So I never did get to drive, and then by the time we got tires, then the car was too old. He didn't trust me driving it because he wasn't sure if I'd get stuck someplace or if it'd quit on me. So I didn't drive until I got married. This starts my life when I graduated from high school. I was quite young. I started grade school at 5, so I was out of high school at 16, which is young for most people. And that following summer, I went to college in Colorado. My brother and his wife were going to summer session out in Colorado, in Boulder, and my grandmother was determined that I get a college education and be a school teacher, because everyone at that time was school teachers. My cousin's wife was a school teacher, and Lynette was a school teacher, and Bertie Lou was a school teacher, and Virginia was a school, and I didn't want to be a school teacher. That was the last thing I wanted to be. But Grandma insisted I go to college, so Dad said, okay, you go out there for the summer session with Wilbur Neva. That way you'll have somebody to kind of watch over you. Well, I stayed on the campus in a dormitory. They had an apartment downtown, so they really weren't watching over me anyway. But the exciting part was I was in a dormitory room with 3 other girls, and they were all just great. They were a little older than I am, so they sort of took care of me. But the exciting time, I guess, was the day that they declared peace. There was sailors in a dormitory on the campus, and I didn't meet any of them. I don't know if any of the other girls did. But one night, we thought it'd be neat to have a souvenir, so we went over to their dormitory. It was about 2 blocks, and took stuff off of their clothesline. And some of the girls took shirts and different things. I took a little white hat, and I had it for many years. I thought that was pretty cute, but I was scared to take anything bigger because it was government issue, and I could have gotten in big trouble, or we could have, but we had fun. And then that's when peace was declared, and of course the campus just went wild. Everyone was out up and down the streets and honking and blowing horns, and I think this went on probably most of the night. We finally gave up and went in, or I did. I can't remember about the other girls, but it was quite a celebration because everyone was so happy that it was over, because it'd been like 4 years, I guess, that this war had been going on.